Ricky, why is podcasting important to you?
Great question, Scott. So podcasting has taught me so much. I want to share a little bit about the backstory of why I got into podcasting. I want to trace it back even before that to my whole internet marketing journey, and I'll get the podcasting thing. So I started as an internet marketer about 5 years ago. You know, Scott's been doing it longer than me, but about 5-6 years ago, I started internet marketing as a blogger. And I still have my blog. It's called daddyblogger.com. From daddyblogger.com, I became a social media marketer. I became a YouTube marketer. And there was something missing. I was doing blogging, social media, YouTube. And the missing part was podcasting. And I was thinking about it, at the end of the day, there's marketing, and marketing is a way to promote your message. So no matter what business you're in, you're marketing your product or your service on things like written, which is blogging, video, which is YouTube, social media, which is a combination of written, audio, and video. And then what I was missing is podcasting. So about 2 years ago, when I started off as a digital nomad, I was like, okay, I'm like Scott was saying in the last lecture, meeting with all these amazing people, and one of the things I was actually feeling is the sense of loneliness. And this is something Scott and me we discussed back and forth about. Like, as digital nomads, there are good things, and you'll see this all over social media. You'll see the good things like the amazing monuments like Machu Picchu or Iguazu Falls or the Taj Mahal, Great Wall of China, the pyramids, Grand Canyon, Statue of Liberty, etc. Right? You'll see the happiness, the smiles, but you won't see the harder things. So there's like loneliness, Wi-Fi issues. Well, you might have seen that if you watched some of our previous Udemy courses. You might have seen there's some Wi-Fi issues. And then there's this issue of loneliness. So why did I start podcasting? Honestly, the truth is, I was trying to alleviate my loneliness because and this is kind of ironic because I'm happily married to my wife, Anne, and we're traveling with 3 kids. So I'm not lonely in the sense that I don't have people. I have my family that I'm traveling with. But I was lonely in the sense of not having internet marketers that are around me and entrepreneurs. Because when I'm traveling, here I'm in the Philippines, I've been in a remote village area of the Philippines, and there are not many entrepreneurs or internet marketers, or there are probably entrepreneurs who have shops and restaurants and barber shops, but not internet marketers in terms of making money online. So at the end of the day, I feel that the reason I started podcasting and the reason I'm continuing podcasting is because of my own desire to connect with people. So that's just me specifically. So now in terms of what's the reason of podcasts generally, I really feel at the end of the day, you want to market your message on as many channels as possible, and also channels that don't have as much competition. So if you look at blogging, obviously there's millions and millions, right? Millions and millions of different blogs. YouTube, millions and millions of different videos, right? Social media, right? But podcasting, there's not as many. So I really feel now, in you might be listening to this 2018, 2019, 2020, we're really at the cutting edge. I mean, podcasting has been around, but still most people aren't on it. Even whenever we travel, I tell people I'm a podcaster. I've recorded 500 episodes. People what is a podcast? I'm like, okay, there's a lot of work to be done. In North America, podcasting is popular. Europe, it's popular. Australia, New Zealand, the western part of the world. But Asia, it's catching up. In the Philippines, hardly anyone has iTunes. They're not listening to podcasts. So I don't have a big audience here in the Philippines, but I will, in 2020 and beyond. And so another quick reason why I feel starting Scott and me, we started the podcast together. It's called Digital Nomad Mastery, the podcast, is to position ourselves as the go-to experts, because there aren't many, if any, digital nomad podcasts, especially when we started. We were pretty much cutting edge, first mover advantage in terms of starting a digital nomad podcast. Now I've seen a few more. There's a lot of travel podcasts, general travel, but what we're teaching is very specific, digital nomad, which means the making money and travel side of business, right? So making money and traveling together. So I really feel one of the other reasons to start a podcast is to become the go-to expert, the authority. And as the host, you are that authority. A few other reasons are networking, connection. So you can network in many ways, right? You can go to meetups, you can go to business events, border trade, chamber of commerce. That's to network physically in person. Well, podcasting, you can meet major thought leaders, major influencers, and just ask them would you like to be on my show? I have a podcast. Would you like to be on my show? And I'm amazed all the time, even now at like 500 plus episodes, how easy it is for me to get some of the most influential people to be on our podcast. So, and I can go on with many other reasons, but those are some of them. To connect with people, for marketing, to become a thought leader, the go-to expert, and there are many more. But those are some of the reasons why I feel I personally started the podcast, and also general reasons. And Scott's going to add some of his insights.
I really want to emphasize what Ricky said about the networking aspect. If you ask somebody who's a thought leader in your area, could you do a guest blog post for me? They're going to look at you like, dude, if you can you be on my YouTube channel? Like, forget it. So the thing about podcasting is very, very rarely very rarely, I've been podcasting since 2005, and I think it's like 3 people have ever said, no, thanks, I don't want to be on your podcast. It's intriguing to people because a lot of people are still like, what is this podcast thing? And it's also the ones that are into it, they know the power of podcasting, and they're excited to be on your show because they know that sooner or later, a lot of people are going to be listening to it. And that brings me to 2 reasons that I think podcasting are important in addition to Ricky's. One is there are no spam filters. So you can send an email out and maybe it gets to 5% of the people on your list. Maybe it gets to 85% of the people on your list. It never gets to 100% of the people on your list. And even though then Google in its infinite wisdom in Gmail may put you into the promotion box, may put you into the spam box. It may just not put you anywhere. So and this is not to say that you should not be doing email marketing. That's not the point. The point is that when you do a podcast and someone subscribes to you, they get the podcast every time. Without fail. So no spam filters, 100% deliverability of your content. And to me, I just think that's absolutely amazing. The second thing, and Ricky touched upon this too, and I want to emphasize, is when you do a search on any topic on Google, you'll get millions and millions of results. If you do a search on iTunes or Google Play, you're going to get maybe 100 results. So in other words, obviously it's a smaller pond, but you can dominate that pond. And those people that are into podcasting are starved for content. They want to listen about your topic, and they're looking for more information on your topic. So when the results show up in iTunes, they just don't click the first one. They'll click the first 10. And then they'll listen to, they'll pick one of the podcast episodes and they'll listen and, I don't know if I like the sound of that person's voice and blah, 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 whatever. Next. So they actually sample a lot. And then when you hook them in, this is my third big point, is podcasts, generally speaking, are evergreen, which means that the content that you share today is just as valuable 5-10 years from now as it is today. Now, obviously, if you're doing a podcast on the weather or the stock market, that's a little bit different. But if you're talking about traveling and how you deal with loneliness when you travel, like Ricky was talking about, or you're dealing with, there's lots of topics that are just evergreen topics, which means that the person 10 years from now who finds your podcast and he listens to your latest episode may go, wow, this is really cool, and go back and start downloading all of them and start at the beginning. And that has happened to me many, many times where someone has said to me, you know what, Scott, I heard your podcast. I've downloaded all, 120 of them, and I'm starting at the beginning and I'm working my way through. So if you send out an email, to use that as an example, or you do a blog post today, what are the chances of somebody reading that blog post 10 years from now, or finding that email in their inbox 10 years from now and reading it? It's pretty low. But with podcasting, that's what happens all the time. So you just don't do it once and it's got a life. I mean, obviously you're going to have a peak when it comes out, but it doesn't go to zero. It still goes at, 10 a day or 100 a day, whatever that percentage is of your total downloads for your show. because new people find you every day and they go, wow, I listened to Ricky and Scott. That was really cool. I want to hear all of what they have to say. And because there's not a billion podcasts on that topic, you're found incredibly easily. And all you have to do is be yourself, be entertaining, be fun, be authoritative, and your podcast will grow organically. That was the other thing that I've noticed all the time with podcasting is the amount of promotions you need to do, and pushing it out, pushing it out. No, you just do the podcast. If all you did was record 20 minutes a week, one podcast, you'd notice in 3 or 4 or 5 months that everything is going up. Now, if you podcast more often, it happens faster. But it's absolutely amazing that there's all this demand and very little supply. And everywhere else online, there's massive demand, yes, and more massive supply, and you're just drowned out. But that doesn't happen in podcasting so far.